Good morning, friends. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Welcome back to Read Aloud. Today is Monday, April 13th. If you are using the distance learning folder, you should print out the materials for that day. Um, but if not, you can just get a blank piece of paper and a pen or a pencil so that you can write down your answers. Now, let's not waste any time and we'll get right into it. The book that we're reading today is called Will You Forgive Me? It's by Sally Grindley and Penny Dan. And as we're reading the book, we're going to be thinking about the story elements in that story, in the story, and we're going to be thinking about character feelings because that's going to be the question on our exit today. We're only going to read half of the book today, and then we'll read the other half tomorrow. So let's get started. All right. Will you forgive me? Jefferson Bear was up a tree eating honey. Save some for our midnight feast, JB, called Figgy Two Socks. Just then, Figgy's brothers pranced by. Hey, look at this knobbly stick, said Big Smudge. That's JB's tickling stick, cried Figgy. Oops. Put it down, you might break it. Scaredy cat, jeered Big Smudge, and he threw the stick into the air. Floppy Lugs threw it higher still. I bet Figgy can't even throw, he sneered. Now let's stop right there. We can answer the first couple of questions just on those first few pages. So the first question is, who is the main character? So if I'm using a blank piece of paper right now, I'm going to make a number 1. Let me show you. I'm going to write a number 1 right on the side of my paper so then I can write the answer to the question I'm going to ask. Who is the main character? Write that down. So on these first few pages, we've actually been introduced to a lot of different characters, but there's only one main character. So on the front of the book, we see this bear and we see this little fox. And then on the first page, we see this little fox again and the bear. And we know that this little fox's name is Figgy Two Socks and that the bear's name is Jefferson Bear. Then on the next 2 pages, that same fox is still there. She's there with her brothers because it says just then Figgy's brothers pranced by. So the one character who's been on all of the pages so far, and the character who is involved with the problem of the story is Figgy. So the main character is Figgy or Figgy Two Socks. So I have written that down right here. The main character is Figgy. We can actually answer the next question too. What do we know about the main character so far? We have some of the most important information of the story in these first few pages, so we can answer what do we know about the main character so far? Write that down now. All right, let's keep reading. Oh boy. I bet I can, said Figgy Two Socks crossly. She grabbed the stick and threw it. Up, up, up it went. Well, I wonder what's going to happen. Come on. Ouch! It hit Jefferson Bear on the head. Then Big Smudge caught the stick. Let's hide it, he said, and the brothers ran off, sniggering. All right, so we can answer the next question based on the pages that we've read so far. What do we know about the main character so far? Take about a minute now to answer that question. Go ahead. All right, so the second question, what do we know about the main character so far? So we know that the main character is Figgy, and what do we know about her so far? Well, on the first page, we learn that that she's having a midnight feast with JB tonight. So she's having a midnight feast with her friend Jefferson Bear. We know that Figgy is friends with Jefferson Bear. Um, and then they start playing with JB's tickling stick. So her brothers start playing with the stick, and then they start teasing her, saying, "I bet Figgy can't even throw." And then she did it, and she hit Jefferson Bear on the head. So what we know about the main character so far is that Figgy is friends with Jefferson Bear, and she threw his stick so it hit him on the head. So that's what your paper should look like. We can also answer the next question. Who are the other important characters? Take about 45 seconds to answer that question. Go ahead. All right. So far in this story, we've only been introduced to four characters. One is Figgy, but we know that Figgy is the main character. We've also been introduced to Jefferson Bear, and he is definitely an important character in this story. Um, we've also been introduced to Figgy's brothers, um, and they're definitely some important characters in the story as well. So the other important characters are Jefferson Bear and Figgy's brothers. So you can write that answer down underneath the last question we answered. Let's keep going. Jefferson Bear scrambled down. Something hit me on the Something hit me on the head, he said to Figgy Two Socks. Did it? Whispered Figgy. Yes, it did, growled Jefferson Bear. Now, what I need is a good scratch. Where's my tickling stick? Figgy looked at the ground. I don't know, JB, she said, and her ears went pink and her nose went all twitchy. Now that's strange that she's saying that she doesn't know because she definitely does know. But that's probably why her ears are getting pink and her nose went all twitchy because she's feeling guilty. Well, I will be very cross if it doesn't turn up, said Jefferson Bear, looking at Figgy closely. So when we're thinking about character feelings right now, we can tell that Figgy is definitely feeling a little guilty and a little worried because if you see right over here, it says that Figgy looked at the ground and then her ears went pink and her nose went all twitchy. So she feels guilty that she's lying to JB because people feel guilty when they're doing something that they know is wrong when they should really be doing the right thing. And she's probably worried that JB is going to find out. So let's keep reading. Figgy Two Socks rushed off to look for the stick. She looked in her brother's den. She looked all along the river bank. She looked in the hollow tree. What's the matter, Figgy Two Socks? Cried a voice. Now, before we turn the page and we figure out what's the matter, we're going to answer the next question. What is the setting of this story? Take about a minute to answer that question. Go ahead. I'll turn back so that you guys can see the picture so you can figure out the setting of the story if you need a reminder. So we can see that the setting of the story is definitely outside. So if you wrote down outside, that's fine, but we can also be a little bit more specific. So when I am looking at the pictures, I see a tree, I see grass, I see leaves, I see sticks, and then that big tree again. So when we see trees and grass and sticks, and we see these animals on the pages, we can tell that this story takes place in the forest. So the setting of this story is outside in a forest. So you can write that down under the last question you answered. The setting is the forest or outside in the forest. Let's keep reading. My picture keeps getting in the way. Oh, it was Hoptail. JB's lost his tickling stick and it's all my fault, said Figgy. I have to find it. Won't any old stick do? Asked Hoptail. No, said Figgy. It's JB's favorite. It has bumps and knobbles in all the right places, he says. Perhaps you should tell Jefferson Bear what happened, said Hoptail gently. Then he won't be my friend any more, and we won't have our midnight feast, wailed Figgy. Figgy Two Socks trudged through the woods. So on this page, we actually figure out what the problem of the story is. So take about a minute to write down what you think the problem of the story is. You can use this page because it says it on this page. Go ahead. So the problem of the story is on this page. So here we see Figgy looking really upset. So we should read the words around her so we can figure out what the problem is. JB's lost his tickling stick and it's all my fault, said Figgy. I have to find it. Won't any old stick do? Asked Toptail. No, said Figgy. It's JB's favorite. It has bumps and knobbles in all the right places, he says. Perhaps you should tell Jefferson Bear what happened, said Hoptail gently. Then he won't be my friend anymore, and we won't have our midnight feast, wailed Figgy. So the problem of this story is that Figgy has caused JB to lose his tickling stick, but she's not being truthful about where the tickling stick is or what happened to it. Because even if she doesn't know where the tickling stick is, she still knows what happened to it, even though she told JB that she did not. So the problem of this story is that Figgy has caused JB to lose his tickling stick, but she's not being truthful about where it is or about what happened. So you can write the answer to that question under the last question we answered. So number 5, the problem is that Figgy caused JB to lose his tickling stick, but she's not telling JB the truth. So let's keep going. Oops. Turns out I read half the book already and I didn't even realize it. So we actually read the entire half of the book that we're going to read today and we answered all the questions. So we know that we're not going to answer or figure out what the solution or the lesson learned is today because we haven't finished the book and we don't figure those out until we finish the book. So on the next slide, you're going to see the exit ticket. You can write down this exit ticket at the top of a blank piece of paper, or you can use the exit ticket that's posted in the distance learning folder. So the question that you are answering today is, in Will You Forgive Me, how do Figgy Two-Sock's feelings change from the beginning to the middle of the story? What caused her feelings to change? Make sure to use evidence from the text and write in complete sentences. So we know that at the beginning of the story, Figgy was really excited and happy about having her midnight feast with Jefferson Bear. So she was feeling happy and excited. And we can see that because she's smiling in that picture and she mentions the midnight feast. Then, in the middle of the story, so they're playing with JB's stick, and then Figgy's brothers run off with JB's stick, and she can't find it. She's feeling guilty and worried that she's not going to be able to find the stick anymore. She's feeling guilty because she's not being truthful or honest with JB, and she is feeling worried that she's not going to be able to find this stick. And we know that because look, she's got a frown on her face. She's kind of hunching over. She's not confident and she's trudging through the woods. That means that she's not prancing, she's not running, and she's not happy. When you trudge, it's like you don't want to do what you're doing, but you have to do it. So I've put all of those in a little what's this called? In a table for you all, so that it might be easier for you guys to answer your exit ticket. So if you need to remind yourself what the exit ticket is, we can go back to, nope, we can go back here, over here to the question. You can rewind your video so you can look at this question for longer, and then you can also rewind or fast forward to see the table again. All right, my friends, that is it for today. Tomorrow we will finish this story and figure out how this problem gets solved. Have a great rest of your day, friends.